When you have a game where you start out like that, then rally back to take the lead, and then have the heartbreak in overtime, what's your message to your team after something like that?
Well, it's always the same. Just gotta. I told them I was proud of them for playing as hard as they played, and and hanging in there. That's been one thing that we have talked about really since I got here, was the importance of of playing when things are going well and playing hard when things aren't going well. And I think you got to give our players a lot of credit. They're starting to do that. Where they just kind of keep their head down and keep playing hard. And so we did that, and we got back into the game and got a lot of stops defensively. Finally started to move the ball a little bit on offense in the second half, and had a chance to take the lead. And we had play after play after play. I mean, if you go back and you look at this game, there's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 plays that you say, well, if we tackle the quarterback in bounds, if we just make one first down. I thought there was a horse collar at the end of the game that wasn't called that would have allowed us to win the game. I mean, there's just certain things that you go back and you say, had one more break gone our way, we would have never got to overtime. But we just, against a good football team, you've got to close that door when you have an opportunity to close it. And you got to give them credit. They Cincinnati did a good job on the last drive of getting down there to field goal range, and field goal kicker made that kick 3 times. And so, got the thing to overtime, and then, we just made a bad play in overtime. We have very seldom turned the ball over this year. We have 8 turnovers in 8 games, and that's about as few as probably anybody in college football. Unfortunately, 5 of the 8 have gone for touchdowns, and so I don't even know how that's possible, but that's the way it's been. And so we've got to not turn it over.
So your defense was on the field for 89 plays. As you said, gave you a lot of big stops, particularly in the first half. Were they at all maybe gassed on that last possession?
I don't think so. No, I didn't get that sense at all, really. I mean, I've seen defenses that have been tired. Fortunately, we have enough guys where we're constantly rolling people, especially up front. We missed a couple of tackles. You know what I mean? If we got the quarterback down in bounds without getting a first down a couple of times, the clock runs out. And then, like I said, the helmet comes off, and then the ball's put ready for play, and the clock doesn't start. You know what I mean? And so that was some valuable seconds that should have gone off the clock that didn't. I don't know what happened there. You know what I mean? And so it's just one of those things where, again, there was enough unfortunate things that happened to us that we lost the ball game. And it's always the same thing. It should never get to that point. That you have chances to win it. We had a chance to win it, just getting one first down in regulation. It's frustrating against a good football team. I mean, Cincinnati's got a good team, and they play hard, and these are the kind of games that if you want to build a championship style of program and type of program, then you've got to figure out a way to win these. You know what I mean? And these guys have Cincinnati's playing a lot of confidence. They're 7-1 team, and we're still trying to figure our way out a little bit.
Considering the way the offense started the game, are you surprised that you even got to the point where you had the chance to win the game and then be disappointed?
No, not at all. I mean, that's a top 5 defense. I mean, the thing about it is, it's important that everybody knows this. When you play good teams, they're harder to beat than bad teams. Okay? Good defenses are harder than bad defenses to score points and make yards against. Okay, that's a top 5 defense in the country. So as a result, they're going to be harder. It's going to be harder to make a lot of first downs and harder to score a lot of points. I mean, that's just the way it works. When you play against a bad defense, it's easier to score points and move the ball. And so, you've got to factor in those kind of things when you look at your performance and how you did. And so it was not certainly the way we started. We have to play better, but they have something to do with it too. Their players are out there as well, and so that's we've got to play better though. You know what I'm saying? It didn't look very good for a while, but our guys, just like I said, our guys kept their head down and kept playing and believed in each other, and there was no finger pointing or any of that stuff, and they just figured out a way to get back in the game.
What did you take from this game moving forward?
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, you know, I want to win every game. You know, I mean, and this is one of those that we could have won. And we've had, you know, 3 games now in our conference that have come down to the last possession. And that's, you know, and we've been fortunate to win 2, and I wish we had been fortunate enough to win 3. That's the way this league is. There's you know, there's a couple of teams that are kind of ahead of everybody else, and then there's a group in the middle that are vying for those next spots, and we're in there, you know, and that's the good news is we're in there, and the good news is we figured out a way to win 2 ball games, you know, that took a lot of mental toughness and fortitude to win, and today we just, you know, we didn't quite get it done, and so, you know, we've got to see how we respond from this, you know, and try to get up to play against a very good Houston team that's going to come in here and, you know, with a lead in the western part of the division.
There was a 3rd and 7 on the last drive. Y'all ended up running the ball. Was there any thought given to passing it?
Yeah, you know, we wanted to make them use their last time out. That was the thought process. And so if it had been 3rd or 3 or 3rd or 4, you know, we probably would have thrown it in that situation. But a 3rd and 7, you know, we felt like it was just better to make them use their last time out.
Is there any injury update on Delonte Scott?
No, I haven't talked to anybody. Yeah.
I know you're just walking in here.
Yeah.
You have a chance to really process it, but are you continually to be puzzled by the inability to run the ball?
Oh, not really. I mean, I think that we have, you know, we've been playing, you know, musical offensive linemen kind of all year, and really schematically, it's easy to see why. I mean, everybody's playing man free and load the box, and so, you know, we're not good enough right now to be able to run the ball against when people do that against us. You know, but what that does, that gets one-on-ones with our outside receivers. And so football is a game of give and take. And that's, you know, what people are doing to us is they're trying to force us to throw the football. And we've got to be good enough at doing it to have a chance to win. And we have been, and that's what we've seen. That's what we saw today. That's what we saw against Tulane. That's what we saw against Houston Baptist. Not as much against Navy, but the last three games that we've played, except for Central Florida, you know, that's what we've seen, and it's hard to run the ball versus that. It just is. You know, they've got one more hat than you've got, and so we've got to figure out a way to do it more consistently. But at the same time, that's opened up our ability to get the ball down the field to our receivers and giving guys opportunities to make plays.
You mentioned the moving pieces on the offensive line. Jalen goes in last week. This week you slide Nick Natura out to tackle. How much does that affect or maybe limit what you and Coach Lashley can call?
I mean, it does a little bit. I mean, the good thing was we'd had to do that before against Michigan. You know, it was kind of the same thing. Nick had to slide over to tackle that week, and so, you know, I don't think it was anything the guys couldn't handle. You know, we've had a couple of injuries up there. You know, we're trying to become a little bit more physical with our offensive line. And we've made some strides, and the guys have improved and done some decent things and given us a chance to, you know, to be competitive and score points and win some games. But, you know, we got to get better. You know, and I think that's not any secret. We've got to play better up there. We've got to run the ball. We've got to run better. We've got to scheme better as coaches. And like anything else, when half of your offense isn't very productive, then you've got to figure out a way to fix it. And we've been trying, and we'll continue to try.
What are emotions like with you in the locker room right now?
You know, I mean, if you do this long enough, you're going to have a couple like this. You're going to be on both sides of them. And so you try to be able to put things in perspective. You know, it's, as I said, we've had 3 games really that have come down to the last possession, and you know, and when you're building a program and you're kind of getting started, most of the time you don't win any of those. You know what I'm saying? And so the fact that we've won 2, you know, is encouraging. You know, and when you start to put something together and you start to play with a lot of confidence and you start to become, you know, really good as a program, you start winning all of them like this. And that's when, you know, you start having a lot of fun and you start winning championships and all that. And so, you know, we're not there yet. You know, we've got to continue just to improve and get better, and you know, but it's you hate it for the players. You know, those are the guys that maybe don't have the perspective that you have as a coach. And so, I mean, they were hurting. You know, guys have really invested more and more every week. I really like the way, you know, they bought in and they've worked. It's a fun team to coach. I really enjoy being their coach. I like the kids a lot. You know, I hate it for them because, as I said, a lot of these kids are young kids, and sometimes it's hard to put something like this in perspective.
And you took a couple shots deep downfield. That's something we haven't seen a lot outside of the Houston Baptist team. Why was that, and how do you think it affected the offense?
Well, I mean, it goes back to kind of what I was saying earlier. You know, that's what we're going to have to do when people stack the box. You know, it's going to create some good one-on-ones, and you know, as long as we stay healthy with our receivers, and we have enough guys that we feel like can make plays out there. And I think Reggie, you know, pretty much made a play every time we threw him a ball. And so, like I said earlier, game that's football. You know, you give up something to get something. And so, defensively, they're trying to take the run away, which again allows us to get the ball down the field. And if they play off, then you throw a more quick game and short routes. And if they come and press, then it gives you a chance to get down the field. And so, that's just kind of you know, kind of what they're going to give us. And so we've got to do a good job of taking it, continuing to improve in that area. You know, I think we have some guys that can go get it, and we've got to keep making plays.